At 10, I was terrified of the dark. Your eyeball is kind of this sphere, and on the outside of it is the white part called the sclera. And then there's another layer called the choroid, and it's full of blood vessels. And then the next part is the retina. And the retina's job is to take the light focused by the lens on the front of the eyeball. The light comes through the lens onto the retina. The retina goes ahead and takes the images, pumps them through the optic nerve to the brain where they're turned into images. Right, Pam? Close? Choroideremia is a disease that causes the choroid to die, and as the choroid is damaged, the retina is damaged, and vision it starts with night blindness and then peripheral vision loss, and then eventual blindness for most people, total blindness that have it. In a world of 7.8 billion, there's 75,000 people about that have it. And in my family, 50% of the males get it. When I was 10, my brother, my cousin Damon, and my cousin Brandon headed to Kalispell, Montana to visit an ophthalmologist to find out if we had it. And we were waiting for the screening to come back. I was 10, Damon was 4, David, my brother, was 8. Brandon was, I don't know, he was less than 4. But the doctor came back and he just said, Bill and Damon will be blind, David and Brandon won't be blind. And I picked up Damon and took him out to the parking lot and sat on a yellow cement parking stop and just wept and wept, man. I loved to see. Then my vision was 20/20 and I loved it. I loved to see the capillary system in an oak leaf that carries the water where it needs to go. I love to see dust in the sunlight riding the air current. I love to see the Montana rivers working their way around rock and riverbed and the light dancing on the water. I love to see the stars. And at that moment, 43 years ago, on that yellow parking stop, I was 10 and I was afraid of the dark, and I thought I had been sentenced to a darkness where I could not turn the lights on. I learned that life was not safe. I was raised with a belief in God, and I learned that God is powerful, but you can't trust him, right? And those things have haunted me through my entire life, through my problems with anxiety and depression, through my issues with addiction. They followed me into my Christianity. And I learned to build a system of denial and distraction, right? I would deny these feelings, I deny the fear, I deny my doubts, and just distract. I distract with fantasy thinking, I distract with electronics, distract with food. I hit my teens and found drugs and alcohol, and those were really awesome at helping me with my program of denial and distraction, right? And I've worked on this stuff. But a few months ago, I had a real opportunity to look at these systems of denial and distraction. My right eye started to kind of get worse and worse. I noticed I was having some problems with it. And one day it went totally red. It was completely in pain. Everything, the vision that I had in my right eye it looked like I was looking through water. Everything was very distorted and wavy. And I went and saw Pam, who sent me to a doctor that helped me through that. But losing choroideremia happens slow. The vision loss is slow. And this sudden vision loss made me pop out of the denial that I was able to use because my vision was deteriorating slow. So now I've talked about vision loss and depression and anxiety and addiction, so it's time to talk about miraculous healing, right? This is the time where we do that. That's not how God used this for me. For me, this vision loss has taught me, I've had a real period of looking at what radical acceptance is, right? To look at my weaknesses and really start to accept them and understand that's how Christ accepts us, right? This has been a time where I get to really think about what it means to be not of this world, right? Where as long as I'm dealing with hurts like my eyes because I'm afraid, or whatever thing I'm going through, as long as I'm trying to apply some like physical stuff to fix it, whether it's telling myself kind of fantasy denial stuff, or I'm going to buy the next new thing, or I'm going to do this and that, I don't get to be realistic about me not being of this earth. We're this new thing, and as long as I live in denial and distraction, the system that I've built so I don't have to feel bad about these things or be scared, then I don't really get to be part of that. Another thing that's really happened recently is I'm seeing these things that really hurt and are really scary for me, whether it's vision loss or addiction or anxiety, depression. Those things get to be turned into callings, right? Where I get to, the person who's in real fear, I can really relate to that. The person who's in addiction and feels like there is no hope and it's just time to check out, I get to really relate to that. These weaknesses become callings. They become ministry. So I don't get to be the guy in the healing tent who says, praise God, I can see. But I think what I'm learning slowly may be more useful for me navigating the kingdom and for other people navigating as well. So anyway, that's it. Thank you. Merry Christmas.